Hello everyone, and welcome back to our Workspace training series. In this video, we'll be exploring Gmail and contacts. Here's a quick agenda of what we'll be reviewing today. We'll start off with an introduction that'll include the various ways we can access Gmail and its interface. We'll go on to the basics of composing messages and working within the inbox. And then we'll wrap up with talking about labels, how to search within Gmail, using those searches to create filters, and then we'll close things out talking about settings. You can access your inbox in quite a few ways. First of all, from every new tab within Chrome, there's links in the middle. You'll often see Gmail here. You could always type in your address bar mail.google.com. That'll take you to Gmail. Or you can use the apps grid in the top right-hand corner. Click on this, and you should see your Gmail icon in the top left-hand corner, and clicking that will take you into your inbox. Now that we've got Gmail open, let's do a quick review of the interface. Starting in the top left-hand corner, you have your main menu icon. This will simply hide the left-hand side of your screen. And if you hover over these icons, the menu items will pop back out for you. Next to this, we have our Compose Message button. To compose messages, you can click on this. If you prefer these windows be popped out, if you hold down Shift before you click on Compose, it'll pop them out in their own window instead. And if you hold down Control before you click on Compose, it'll open up in a new tab instead. Beneath that, you have your default labels. And what I mean by this is that if you have your own personal Gmail account, these will look the same in that as they do in your work account as well. So it always starts off with inbox, stars, snooze, sent, and drafts. Features you may not recognize in here are starred and snoozed. In Gmail, next to all of your messages, you will have a star icon. If you put a star next to it, you'll also be able to find that message within the starred label. So this is an easy way to mark emails that are of given importance and have them separated into their own section as well. They'll stay in the inbox, but they'll also be available in the Start tab. If you want to snooze a message, you can either right-click on it and choose the snooze option, or you could select the message and choose the snooze option from the top. Snoozing a message will ask that message to leave the inbox and come back at a later time. Beneath your default labels is where you have your personal labels. These can be created by clicking on the plus button. If I wanted to create a new label, I can. So let's just call this sample label. If I wanted it nested under one of my existing labels, I can do that as well. So we can nest it under the projects label that I have here. And notice that I have a new label inside of my labels. If you want to edit or add color to your labels, just hover over the label and wait till 3 dots pop up on the right-hand side. Click on those. This is where you can establish label colors if you'd like to. This is also where you can edit your labels, meaning that if you wanted to change their order or their names or nest them under existing labels, that's how you get access to those features. The majority of the other options we have are found in the top right-hand corner of Gmail. This is where we can affect our status, use the Do Not Disturb feature, set as away, or either customize a status. To the right of that, we have our settings cogwheel. A single click on this will take you into your quick settings that allow you to adjust the aesthetics of your inbox, like your density, the color in the background known as your theme, what type of inbox you'd like to utilize, and if you want to put on the reading pane. Click on See All Settings to get in more depth options for settings as well. In the middle of your interface is where you have your search bar. Typing in the search bar at the top level is going to do a has the word search. So if I type in the word Google, it'll bring up all messages in my inbox that have the word Google in them. If I go into my advanced search options, we'll see that I'm performing a has the word search. And this is a screen to go into if I wanted to do more granular search abilities. And the last thing I'll mention as far as the user interface goes is in the right-hand side of Gmail, you have quick access into your calendar. If you want to open up into the full calendar, there's another icon for that. Quick access into Google Keep that allows you to take quick notes and share them with your colleagues. Google Tasks that is similar to Keep, but these tasks are relevant to just yourself. They aren't shareable with other people. And any task that you put in, if you put a date and time onto it, it'll populate onto your calendar, and it will not eat up a time slot. So it's a great way to put little notes on your calendar. Another cool feature of tasks is you can actually click and drag messages from your inbox and create tasks based on those messages as well. The last thing we have on the sidebar is contacts. Quick access into your contacts and again, a quick button at the top to go into your full contact screen. Now that we've explored the user interface, let's take some time to explore the unique features we have when we compose messages in Gmail. So one unique thing about Gmail is that the carbon copy and the blind carbon copy aren't automatically filtered under the two. So if you want to utilize these, just click these. The To button, CC button, and BCC button, if you hover over them, you'll notice that it says Select Contacts. And if you click on it and treat it like a button, it'll open you up into your contacts. Subjects in Gmail have no priority. So if you're sending messages in Gmail, there's no way to indicate priority other than denoting that in the subject line. So if it's an important message, you might want to put in the word urgent to start. In the body of Gmail, you'll notice that it gives you access into Utilize Gemini to help write messages. You can either click on that little prompt, click on the Gemini Help button at the bottom, or just start with your message. Tabbing inside your message window will not indent. If you want to use indentation, there's buttons in your formatting bar that allow you to do that. And if you hover over them, it'll show you the shortcut for them. If you don't see this formatting bar, it's nested under the little A icon at the bottom of your composed message window. Next to that, you have your Gemini assistants if you want to use Gemini to assist you in writing messages or responding to messages or summarizing messages that are in your inbox. Paperclip icon for attaching files that are on your PC. Only thing to note here is that if you attach files that are over 25 megabytes, it will automatically convert that file into your Google Drive. So essentially you have unlimited file sizes for attachments, but if they are too large, it'll first need to convert it into your Google Drive. Hyperlinks for hyperlink to content that's in your Google Drive or external websites, emoji reactions, adding files from your Google Drive. So if I want to add the slide deck in it, I just select it, add it in as a link. The controls, or the hotkeys Control-Z and Control-Y work for undo and redo if you'd like to quickly undo or redo an action. So I just press Control-Z to undo that to take it off of my screen. Connection into Google Photos, connection into a confidential mode. Confidential mode is a neat feature that will either add an expiration date to the email that you're sending, so it'll be removed from the recipient's inbox at a set amount of time. And you can also have a texted passcode needed to open up that email as well. The last features down here are signatures. So if you have multiple signatures, you can switch to those. I'll show you how to create those a little later in this video. We have access into layouts. So you can create your own templates for emails you're going to create. You can either utilize Google's templates or create your own. And next to this is one of my favorite features, which is Help Me Schedule, which will allow you to quickly link into your calendar and suggest times for upcoming meetings. So if I click on the little edit icon, I can simply select times in my calendar that I have available, propose those, and then when the end user interacts with the schedule, they can simply select one of these options, as opposed to emailing back and forth our availability. Any messages like this that get closed out will automatically become a draft. So if I go into my draft section, the first message listed should be a draft of what I was composing last. So if any fields are entered into when you're in these screens, it will store it as a draft for you. Now let's dig a bit deeper into searching and creating filters, because these two behaviors are closely linked together. First of all, to do a search, you can either type into the search bar at the top of the screen. As I mentioned earlier, this is how you do a has the word search. So again, if I go up here and start to type in my email address, I can filter down to all instances of emails that have my email address referenced. And then if I want to refine the search at the top, I have tokens that allow me to do so. So I can alter and add people into the from. I can alter the duration of which the message was sent, if the message happens to have attachments, and if so, what type of attachment is going to be utilized. I can exclude calendar events to minimize the amount of messages that are shown, and I can also show things as far as whose the message was sent to, and if it's unread or read. If I click on the Show Search Options button, I can add more details to this. So if I wanted to add a section for don't include these words, I can have those excluded from the search. I can add in subjects, to and from. Notice that I need something in this screen for this filter button to appear for me. So if I go in and take out this text, notice that the filter button will go away. So filters in Gmail are based on having something to search upon. So it needs to have some criteria to filter upon. The most common filter that you'll create will be from given users. So notice that when I put something in the from section, I can then filter based on that condition. One of the easiest ways to narrow your inbox down to certain searches is to right-click on messages and say find emails from. That's one of the easiest ways to sort down to messages from a given user or a certain message type. Now again, if I want to filter upon that condition of when emails come from this user, I'm going to click on the Show Search Options button, and I'm going to select Create Filter. From here, there's a lot of checkboxes listed, but for the majority of filters you'll ever create, you're only going to be selecting 2 or 3 of these boxes. The most common filter will be Skip the Inbox, which means that you want the messages to no longer go in the inbox, but go directly into a label. So this kind of mirrors that folder behavior. So skip the inbox, go directly to a folder instead. That kind of filter would look like this. First, you want it to skip the inbox, then you want to apply the label, and then you want to choose the label that it goes into. If that label doesn't exist yet, it gives the ability to create a new label in real time from here. Now the last item of importance is the bottom one, which says also apply this filter to X number of matching conversations. So if I don't select this, only new instances of emails that come from this user will go into this label automatically. This bottom option is saying also grab the 4 existing messages and nest them into that as well. So now when I select the Create Filter button, it should create my filter for me. Now if I look under the sample label that I've created, we'll see those messages are sent there. And now a few messages that come from that user will automatically go into this label. And when they're new, the label will become bolded. So if I right-click on a message and choose to mark it as unread, notice that the label appears bolded with the number 1 next to it. So bolded labels with a number next to them lets you know that there's unread messages inside, and that's the amount of unread messages. Now if I need to edit or view my existing filters, I'll need to go into my settings, which are in the cogwheel in the top right-hand corner. Select that once. And then we'll also need to go into See All settings. From here, we'll find that there is a Filters and Blocked Addresses tab. And if I go into it, we'll see all of my existing filters, the ability to create new ones from here, import existing filters that you may have created in other applications, and then on the right-hand side, I can edit or delete any of my existing filters. Now let's go over a few tips and tricks of how to manage your inbox before we wrap things up talking about settings. So to manage your inbox and keep it clean, there's a few tools you have in place to do so. 1, you can click and drag messages into folders, aka labels, to take them out of your inbox. 2, you can also select messages and choose to archive them instead, which will make them leave the inbox, and it also does not go into a label in this use case. Messages that you archive are found in a hidden label under More called All Mail. While you can go in here and see all of these messages, I would never recommend to go into here to actually find things. If you're looking for messages that you've archived, you should simply search for them. But note that archiving is one of your best tools for getting rid of messages that are maybe not important enough to go inside of one of your labels, and also maybe too important to have deleted. Personally, I don't delete anything in my inbox. I either nest things into the appropriate folder to take them out of view, or I archive them so I can look them up later. Also note that you can select multiple messages at a time to move into one of your labels. And then also, if you select one message, then hold Shift and then select a gapped message, it'll automatically select everything in between. And if you want to get rid of individual ones, you can kind of mark them off as well. A really good tool for selecting big groups of messages. You also have a Select All button in the top left-hand corner, and a drop-down menu that will let you do some more detailed selects of individual items on the screen. If you happen to have more than 50 to 100 messages on the screen, a larger Select All button will pop up. That is harder for me to display because I don't have that much content in my inbox. But if you're trying to select a screen that has, let's say, 500 messages in it, a secondary icon will pop up asking you to select all. Now let's transition to the final section of this video, which will cover settings. And again, settings are housed in the cogwheel in the top right-hand corner. First, we go into the quick settings screen, which we've already kind of quickly reviewed. I'll go into it in some more depth. Density, I recommend keeping it default because it makes your attachments much easier to see. Notice that the comfortable and compact densities, while displaying more messages at one time, make it harder to see the attachments. I really like the ability to get access to the attachments without actually having to go into the messages themselves. Themes, if you say View All, most users are looking for this dark mode. That's where you're going to find it. There's your default, and there's plenty of other themes you can utilize. If you do utilize more than one Gmail inbox, I recommend theming them. That way you can easily tell the difference between the two locations. Inbox types allow us to customize the look and feel of our inboxes. So we could manage it to where all of our unread messages are nested at the top. And if I right-click on a message and choose to mark it as unread and give it a little refresh, we'll notice that that message is now pinned at the top. So definitely value in utilizing these different inbox types and kind of work as you find according. I, for a long time, used the starred first inbox, which is kind of very similar to that unread concept. And now if I put a star on a message, starred messages instead of unread messages now get pinned to the top of the inbox. So feel free to explore these if you want to customize the look and feel of your inbox. Next, you have the reading pane, which will allow you to preview messages on the left-hand side and then have them shown on the right-hand side. You can have this set to the top or the bottom. If you use this tool, note that you can hover in the middle of your screen and click and drag and alter how much room either of these take up. And the last option in your quick settings is your email conversation view. So threads in Gmail are unique in that it will nest messages of the same topic together. So if I go into my starred label, note that I have a long threaded message here. So if you ever see numbers next to your messages, that means that that is the number of responses in a thread. And if you turn off conversation view, each of these would be their own line item as a new message in my inbox. So conversation view definitely helps reduce the clutter of your inbox, but this is a matter of preference as to how you want things displayed. I like this, so when I click in there, I can see all the threads within the message, and it's not 11 different emails in my inbox. So it's your choice to toggle this on or off. So now let's click on See All Settings and dip into our larger set of settings. As you can see, there's multiple menus here. We're really just going to concentrate on the most important ones that are found in this General tab. This is also where we can modify our maximum page size. So if you want to see a little bit more emails on your screen at once, you can. The maximum is 100 though. Undo send. This actually defaults to 5 seconds. So when you first start your inbox, you'll notice if you come to these settings, this will be to 5 seconds. I recommend turning it up to 30 seconds and then scrolling to the bottom and selecting Save Changes. What the undo send does is that if I compose a message to my colleague here, and let's just put some text in, and let's say we failed to put a subject in. Now I'm going to hit send. And so basically it's going to delay the sending of that message for 30 seconds. And within the next 30 seconds, I have the ability to undo and revert it back into a draft. Now the caveat to this is that if I hit send again, if I click anywhere else on the screen while this text is up, it will instantly send that message. So while it is called an undo send feature, it's more of a delayed send, and I recommend turning it up to 30 seconds just because it goes by too quickly with that 5 seconds to undo and revert things back into a draft. We'll skip over the bulk of these options as you're probably going to want to keep just these on. These are default settings that introduce, unique features like grammar checks and spelling checks. Things that you might want to alter are things like your stars. We quickly went into stars, but there are actually 12 different star symbols that you can utilize. And I'm going to add a third star in here. I'm going to hit Save Changes, meaning that if I want to add a star into a message, if I click more than once, I can get different star icons. So essentially these end up being a sort of metadata that you can add onto your messages, and then you can sort down to particular icon types. But anything that you put any type of star onto will be housed in your starred label. But if I wanted to do a more granular search of all emails that has the blue info in it, I can use advanced search modifiers like has, blue info, and then filter down to just that message type as well. So there's no legend for what these mean, so choose to use as many or as few as you want to. It's just an added feature to help you organize things in Gmail. So let's jump back into our settings and scroll back to where we left off. The last two things of importance inside your settings are your signature, where we can create new signatures. So let's go ahead and create a new one. Call this one our main sig. Then we create it over here. I recommend spacing your signature down so it's disconnected from the body of your message. And I'm just going to put my name in, and then we're going to put a fake phone number in. And say we're set with this. Beneath this is where I can establish what signature will be used in what use case. So we're going to call the main sig is what we use for new emails. Same thing for our responses. And then this just adds in a couple dots before our signature so it visually disconnects things. So if I go to Save Changes and go to Compose a Message, we'll notice that our signature is already embedded into our message. And that pencil icon lets us switch between our other signatures we have available. Back into settings one last time. In the very bottom of your settings section is your vacation responder. Vacation responses are not hourly specific, they're just daily specific. So if I want to note that I'm going to be on vacation for the week of Thanksgiving, I'm going to establish the first day, establish the last day, say out for Thanksgiving, and then customize the message that I want delivered in that use case. Usually for me it says, I'll be out during these dates, please reach out to this person while I'm away. Now the two boxes below your signature are a little bit confusing. If you have both of these unchecked, anyone who emails you gets your vacation response. Now if you check boxes, now you're being exclusive with your vacation response. Now you're saying just people in my domain will receive it. And now you're saying people in my domain and my contacts that are outside of my domain will see it. But remember, if you want it to everyone, uncheck both of these boxes. Then when you hit Save Changes, once the date approaches, you'll get a little yellow banner at the top indicating that you're on vacation. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will wrap things up for our workspace training video on Gmail and contacts. Thanks for watching.